you know, your girl is trying not to be distracted today or any day or ever. Although, you know, distractions are just distractions and they happen. But let me restart. What up, everybody? It's your girl, Melissa, and it's Friday, y'all. Woo woo! And I hope your Friday is going well. I hope you are doing amazing today. Let's see. Okay, we're on. We're going good. I think I could see your comments now. Maybe, not yet. Oh yeah, I can. Okay. Okay, guys. So, you know, I was supposed to have a guest on today, but things just didn't work out. You know, that's this business. Sometimes things happen, sometimes they don't. But that's okay, because the show always goes on, right? But today, I just kind of wanted to share with you because, as most of you know, October is, you know, not only Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I think a lot of the times, you know, people don't talk about it because they're afraid to talk about it, and they don't want to say nothing about it, and it's just one of those sore subjects, I guess, that people are always like, I don't know. So today I just kind of wanted to jump on and just share with you a little bit about, you know, just speaking up and speaking out, because I believe it's important, you know, that you guys would kind of maybe know the signs if it's around anybody that is around you, or, you know, it could be a friend or family member or even a friend's friend or somebody, you know. Domestic violence is very serious, and, you know, it happens for both men and women. You know, most of the time it's mostly women, but it does happen for both men and women. And for as most of you know, when I first started, we just celebrated, if you did not know, we just celebrated my 1-year anniversary here on the show, which was October 18th, so super excited about that. But when I first started out here on KUHS, one of the first things I actually shared about was my story about, you know, my domestic violence story, about abuse, and you know, that whole process. And, you know, now that there's more people who's on here and who has joined me along on this journey and has been here for a while and supporting and sharing, you know, I just kind of wanted to share with you a little bit about who I am for maybe those that don't know. So kind of just like a little refresher, you know. There's always new people joining in, and, you know, new listeners, new viewers, just it's always great to see new people coming in, and also the people who've been here forever and for a while. I just thank you and appreciate you all so much. And so, you know, some of you might have heard this story before, some of you might have not. So, you know, I guess, you know, and if you have any questions too, you're more than welcome to ask questions. I'm always very open and transparent about things that happen and things that go on, and so you know, you're more than welcome to ask anything that you might want to ask as well. But just kind of give you a little brief on, you know, I was actually kind of sharing this the other day with somebody, and they were asking about, like, can you explain, like, when it first happened, right, and how you first got in the situation, or how it first happened to you. And you know, it's crazy because I was always one of those girls, right? I think, you know, we all watch TV, we all watch shows growing up, and I think we've all seen, like, you know, those talk shows of, like, girls who are in relationships, like abusive relationships and stuff like that, and you always think, like, how could they be so dumb, or, like, you know, why don't they just leave, or, you know, I will never be that type of person. I would never be, you know, that kind I would never be in that situation or never be that myself. And and I was one of those girls at one time. I was like, man, I will never be like that. Like, I will never be one of those girls who get in a relationship like that. And if some guy ever did that to me, like, he'll know, like, I'll teach him, like, we always have, like, this thing, and maybe some of us are that way, but I remember when I got in this relationship with this guy, it was just one of those things that was, like, when you truly, like, love somebody and you fall in love with somebody, you're kind of caught off guard, right? Especially in this, because it's one thing, like, falling in love and being in love with somebody, but then it's also another thing of, like, something totally just outrageous, for lack of better words, to just happen and come out, right? And I remember, like, the first time that it happened, it was just shocking, because like, I just remember the first time it happened, it was, I was getting in his car, getting in his truck, and we were gonna go meet his family and everything. And like, I was just like, oh, excited, because they weren't from here. They had came into town to come say hi, and then we were gonna have dinner with them and everything. And I just remember, the first time it happening, like, him grabbing my head, like the back of my head, and just like, slamming my head on the dashboard of his truck. And in my head, you're just in shock. Like, you don't even know what to say. You're kind of like, you're like in that moment, right? Because one, you're just in the moment of, like, how do I get away? But two, you're in that moment because this person who you care about, like, is just totally, like, acting in a way that you never expected, and you're thrown off, and you're just in shock, and you don't know what's happening. You're like, I don't know, like, for me anyway, that's how it was. And you're just like, what the heck, what's going on? And I just remember, like, my head hitting the dashboard, and I was just, like, trying to grab his hand with one of my hands, and just grab, like, this side, and I'm just, like, trying to get him off of me, and I'm, like, trying to open the other door, like, the passenger door where I got in. And I remember being in the parking lot, because at the time where I worked, like, that's where he had came and picked me up. And I just remember being in the parking lot, I could see people, and I'm just like, help me, and I'm just like, screaming at him too, like, what the heck is wrong with you? Like, and just screaming and yelling for someone to come help me, because, like, no one was helping me. Like, I'm like, what the heck? And, like, as people started to get closer, to his truck and everything, like, he let go of me, and I got out, and, like, words were said and everything. And I just remember, like, the first time it happening was just, it was just insane. Like, I can't even explain into words, like, what I was feeling, like, what happened, how did this happen? Like, you're just thrown off guard. Like, you never expect anything like this to happen, especially to you, right? Like, you never expect anything like this to happen. And as time went on, like, I had ignored him for a while, and just didn't want nothing to do with him. I was like, you are out of your mind, like, you're freaking crazy. Like, I'm like, what the heck? And, I didn't talk to him for, like, the longest time, because I was like, no man will ever treat me that way. Like, I will not let you treat me this way, and I don't know how you think, like, you're gonna treat me this way, right? And as time went on, like, a couple months down the road, and I just remember, like, after him, like, constantly, like, pursuing me and calling me and texting me and showing up at my job and just all this other stuff, I gave in, and I was just like, okay, well, maybe, like, I don't know, like, I'll just give him another chance. And here I was, giving this guy another chance, right? And, things went well, and things were good for a while, and I think that's how like most relationships are. Well, these type of relationships are. Things will go good for a while, and then like it happened again, and um, it was just crazy because I think I look back and I think of like all the times like, girl, like to myself, like, girl, why don't you leave? Like, why don't you just get up and go? Like, what's wrong with you? And but also when I look back, I'm just so grateful. Like, I'm grateful to God for like keeping His hand upon me, keeping His hand of protection upon me, and just like I know like I would have never made it without Him and without like the prayers of people that were praying for me. And but going back into like the topic of abuse and everything, some things that I just wanted to share is that when your friends and that are going through something, or you see the signs of that, a lot of the signs are like they withdraw, right? Because I know like for me, and I can only talk about my personal experience and things that happened with me, but I know like with him, I couldn't start seeing my friends anymore. Like I couldn't hang out with them. I was kept from my family. I couldn't hang out with my family. Like everything was monitored, from my text messages to my phone calls, to my bank account. Like everything I did, like he watched and he did. And so when you start seeing like your friends withdraw, and start seeing those signs of things that are happening, like I know for me, like I was always like, why won't anybody just like ask me like how am I doing? Like I think a lot of times we just think our friends are okay because everybody puts on this facade, right? I think even till this day, no matter if it's an abusive relationship or not, like people always put on this facade of like everything's okay. No one wants you to know what's going on in their personal lives. No one wants to tell you this and that. Like some people will, but a lot of the times, like people just, oh well, they don't want to be troubled with my business. They don't want to be, I don't want to keep having to share what's happening or sound like a broken record, right? And but there was a lot of times that I was just like, man, I wish that someone would just ask me like how I'm doing, like how are you, and so that maybe like this could be an out, and maybe I can actually share with them like what's going on and what's happening. And I just look for those signs, because sometimes all it takes, and sometimes when we say like I'm fine, we're really waiting for you to be like, but no, really, like how are you doing? Like how are you truly feeling? And waiting for someone to ask. And I know there's a lot of times that like I wish people would have asked me those questions, and I think it's about always asking the right questions, right? And so listening to your friends, kind of like if you know someone's personality, you know how they are, always outgoing, always doing stuff, and then totally switch like a 180 and things are going around, like it has to throw, in my opinion, it has to throw some red flags of like something's not right here, something's going on. And I'm talking about relationship wise, right? And about abusive relationships. And I just know that I wish that I had those friends and those people that would actually like sit there and be like, how are you doing? Like what's going on? And and for those people that were there, that was later on in the road when they found out what was actually happening. But in the beginning, like it's always like, why can't somebody just like step in and say like, how are you doing? Like how are you really doing? Like how can I help you? Whatever the case might be. And and then one of the other things I want to talk about, and my story can go on for days. I can tell you like so much stuff that happened. But one of the things that I did want to share about about abuse and domestic violence as well, is that when someone does finally open up to you and talk to you about it, don't shame them, right? Or don't question like, how do I want to say it? Don't I think there's always a right question to ask, right? Or right things to say. And I know the first time that I had actually opened up with a friend to talk about it and say, like, I mean, this was like maybe 7 months into the relationship, you know, and like things had been really bad. And I remember the first time I opened up to a friend, because I was like, maybe if I open up to her, she can help me out. She can, you know, help me find a way out, or, you know, she could be my support system. Like, she's supposed to be my really good friend. Like, you know, why would I not be able to go to her and talk to her, right? And I just remember the first time that I went to her and I was like, you know, so and so hit me and this is what's going on. And, you know, like, I was crying. I was at one of my most vulnerable moments, and, you know, the words that she said back to me was like, well, what'd you do to piss him off, right? And I just remember my heart sinking, and I was just like, wow, okay, well then, you know, maybe everything he is telling me is true. Like, maybe I'm the one in the wrong. Like, you know, I finally opened up about it and wanted to share because, you know, I needed help. I needed a way out. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know, you know, and we had similar friends too, so it was like I didn't know who to talk to about it, who's gonna help, who's gonna this. And, you know, when I finally like went to talk about it, you know, like, that was the response that I got. And I would just encourage you that, you know, if you are a friend that someone comes to, don't shame them, guys, and just be there to listen. Sometimes, like, I know you, like, I probably most of the time you don't have the answers, right? But you can be that person who is a listening ear. You can be that person who, like, maybe they just need that strength of someone to believe them and hold on to them and be like, I'm listening. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to help you. I don't know how to help you yet, but I'm going to help you, you know? And that they could find comfort in the fact of knowing that you're there for them, right? And, you know, for me, my situation was different. And it was just like, you know, after she had told me that, it was just like, you know, all these thoughts go back into my head of like, you know, what he's saying is right. Like, you know, no one will believe me. And, you know, I'll never be anything without him. And all this stuff. And you know, the crazy thing is, and, you know, even when I look back on it today, is that, you know, I'm the type of person that, like, I never like to say bad things, like, things that happen in relationships, right? Like, because I think we all get there, right? When we're in relationships and you get in a fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, no matter who it is, you always, like, you're kind of iffy on, like, saying anything to anybody because you don't want them to get the wrong perspective of them, right? And you don't want them to think badly of them because you want people to like your girlfriend. You want people to like your boyfriend. So you refrain yourself from saying things that happen. And even though, like, some of the crazy stuff that he would do to me, right? It was just like I would keep it from people because I was like, well, you know, when he's not doing that to me, he's a really good person. When you know, I'm not getting choked to death. It's not a laughing matter, but, you know, that's just how I deal with it. But you know, but, like, when these things are happening, like, you know, you're just thinking in your head, like, I don't want to share, like, you know, because when he's not doing this stuff to me, he's a really good guy. Like, you know, he does stuff for me, and, you know, he treats me really good when he does treat me really good. And so then you cover it and you don't want people to see the bad side of him because you're like, well, then I don't want my friends to hate him. Because how many know, like, we've all been there, right? I've even been there. Like, a friend has told me really bad stuff, like her boyfriend's done, and then your perspective changes of them, right? And you're just like, yeah, I don't like him. I don't want you to be with him, like, right? And we don't want that. Like, we want our friends and we want our families to like our boyfriends and girlfriends, right? And so, to get to my point, you know, I would always, like, not say things about him, because I wanted people to like him. And so then people had this perspective of him of like, no, not him. He wouldn't do anything like that. Like, are you sure? Like, and you know, and question you, and they wouldn't believe you because they see one side, but you've never spoken about what he said or what he's done to you. And so they only see the version of them that they want to see. And this could be in you know, like any relationship, like it's the version of like what they want to see, right? And I just remember, you know, so when I did like try to finally tell, like it was like no one believed me. Like no one wanted to believe that he was this way, believe that, you know, he could act this way or be that way, because I have never spoken up about it. And so to get to my point, I guess, it's just that, you know, when your friends are sharing with you or someone is speaking up with you, maybe it's just someone who confides in you. Maybe they're not a friend. Maybe they found you. You divinely came in their, you know, pathway for a reason, and you know, they are just talking to you and need someone to listen. Like, don't shame them. Like, don't start asking those questions of like, what'd you do to piss them off, or like, well, it's your fault, like, why'd you do this? Like, you know, there's people who need help, and a lot of the times like people don't go for help. And I know that was even with me after I had opened up. Like, it was like, okay, you shrunk back down because the time that you tried to open up, like, no one trusted you, no one believed you, and no one ever knew that side of him. So it was like, why would they believe you? But you would think that they're your friends, so they would believe you, right? And so, you know, when someone is talking to you about it, or someone is being open and transparent with you about it, just please, like, have an opening ear, like, have a listening ear, be able to, you know, be able to just be a listener, like a comforter in a sense. Like, be able, like, there's some of you that I know, like, you wouldn't have the tools or the resources, but just knowing that, like, I could find comfort in, like, sharing these moments with you would be all that I need to, like, give me the power to be like, okay, I have support, I have someone to back me up. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but I know that I have a support system. So when you don't have that support system, it's very rough, and it's very, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go from there. And you know, every situation is unique, every case is unique. You know, I am lucky that by the grace of God that I am here. You know, like, if I were to stay longer in that relationship, like, I know I would not be here today. And you know, I remember the first time, you know, my parents had found out, it was you know, like, I knew when my parents were gone. So when parents were gone at the house, you know, I would know their little yellow car would always be gone, right? And so I would knew that they weren't home. So that would be the time that, like, I would sneak into the house and, like, shower, get ready, and then leave, because I never wanted them to see, like, marks on me or ask me what happened, because I didn't want my parents to worry about anything. And I remember this one time, I remember, sorry, it was weird. I remember this one time that, you know, I thought my parents were gone because the little yellow car was gone. And I was like, oh, okay, I could, you know, sneak in the house, get ready really quick, and then, you know, leave from there and not worry about anything. And I remember walking into the door, and my mom was right there. And she was just like, oh my gosh. And, you know, like, I had choke marks around my neck and everything. And that was, like, the first time my parents, like, had ever found out. And that was probably, like, a year, maybe, like, a year and a half into the relationship. And, you know, that was, like, the first time, like, they had found out. And then, you know, from there, like, my parents, like, you got to get out of this, like, you know. And then it was just, it was hard. Like, it's so hard to explain, because you want to get out, but there's things that, you know, like, you know, just the type of person he is. Like, you know, like, the things that he would say, like that he would be true on his word to like what he would do to you and what he would do to your family. And so then it was like you find relief in knowing that you have people backing you up and you have people that are there. You have a support system now. But then at the same time, like you're scared as heck because you're like, you know, this guy doesn't care. Like he came after me and dragged me out in the middle of the public road. Like everyone was around there. Like everybody's seen it and grabbed me and everything, you know, didn't care. Did this out in public. So if he would do that in public, how would I not know, like, he wouldn't be true on his word to, like, the threats that he puts on my family and everyone else. And so there's always so much more into what happens and what's going on and the things that, you know, are behind the scenes. Like, you can see the external things, right? Like, you can see the choke marks on my neck. You can see, you know, my shirt's ripped. You can see the bruises on my arms. You can see all the outer stuff, but you don't know like all the things that are happening behind the scenes as well. And you know, then you get to that point where it's just like, what do you do? You know, I remember it was like I knew I had to get out of this relationship. I knew that if I stayed there, you know, like I probably wouldn't be here today. And I even remember that, you know, he told my dad one time, he's like, I could do whatever I want to your daughter and you ain't gonna do anything. She's still gonna come back to me. And those words just like still pierce me to that day. You know, I remember like him just telling my dad that was like, man, just such like to the heart. You know, it was like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just like one of those slow motions, you know, like the slow motions on TV where you're just like those words and like the movie goes so slow and you're like, oh, like it was like one of those. And you know, like he wasn't afraid. Like he wasn't afraid of like coming out blatantly and saying like, I did this, I did that, or you know, I'll make good on my word of what he's doing. And you know, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. There's so much like backstory to it. But today I just want to just come on and share with you because, you know, even though there's a lot to my story, there's October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so I just wanted to, you know, just share a little bit with you about certain things that happen, but also just share with you because I want you to be aware of those type of situations and those type of relationships and you know the things that you can do as a friend or a family member or you know, maybe you're just someone who crossed paths. There are solutions. There are homes, like, you know, protective homes, shelters and that for families and people. And my situation is very unique, very different probably from a lot of situations that happen, but I just wanted to share with you because I know in those moments, you know, while I was going through this, I lost a lot of people in my life. I, you know, lost a lot of friends, lost a lot of family members because he had pulled me away from them. But more importantly, when someone speaks out to you and someone goes to you, like just be a listening ear, just be that support system that they need. And you know, you could be the one that maybe helps them find the resources. You could be the one that, you know, like maybe you don't know necessarily what to do, but you could find the shelter's number. You could find the hotline for domestic violence awareness. They have a lot of hotlines that you can call, national hotlines, local hotlines, wherever you're at in your city, wherever you reside. But just be a friend, just be a listening ear, just be that one that they know that they have support there. I always say that I think a lot of times if I had, you know, that support system, and I'm not saying my mom and dad or people, because again, like I wasn't the type to share what was going on, but when I finally did share, it was like I closed back because those people, you know, made me feel like it was my fault and he was right. And just a whole lot behind it. But I want to share with you, because even in this time of COVID, and this time of, people not being able to go out and, I know things are slowly kind of reopening, but things are slowly kind of like going backwards, again. And it's just, be aware of the people around you. Maybe they're not even friends. Maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe it's, like a coworker or somebody. Just be aware of that and be aware of those types of situations. Look in on it. And, there are situations where, man, I know every situation is unique and everyone's different. Sometimes when you step in, it makes it 10 times worse. I know for me, like, there are times that I wish people would have, like, actually, like, got out of their cars or did something instead of seeing me get hit on the road, like, instead of just calling 911, like, actually, like, intervene. And I think it was, like, times like those that I was just like, man, like, nobody freaking cares. Like, nobody cares what's going on. Like, if a stranger doesn't even step in and help, like, why would anybody else step in and help? Like, if it, there's just a lot of different unique situations when it comes to this. But, be aware of the signs, and especially the people around you, because, again, it could be a coworker, friends, friend of a friend, family, and maybe even just step in the fact of maybe calling a hotline, calling that number. It's, what do they say? When you see something, say something, right? And so even in that situation, like, you're still helping, right? And I'm grateful for those people that call 911 when things happen. I'm grateful for those people, and who knows, things can go bad. Always protect yourself first. But sometimes, if you are able to help in any way and step in, maybe you can. And I'm not saying that for every situation, because I know there's situations that are totally different, and some are 10 times worse, so as far as like using weapons and stuff like that, or every situation is different. But just be aware, and I just wanted to speak with you about it, just because it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it is very real. It is happening. It happens every second, every minute. And even in these times right now, it's happening even more. And just be aware about, those children, wives and husbands. It happens to men and women. And so just be aware of the things and the people around you and those signs, and, educate yourself a little bit more on it. Look into it, research it. I think a lot of times, like, people think that domestic violence is just physical, the physical aspect of it, but it's everything. Sometimes it's not physical, it's just verbal and emotional abuse, right, as well, and people that tear you down. I know I always said that I'd rather get hit and beat down before I would want to hear those words that broke me, and those words that scarred me and stayed with me. And it takes longer to heal from words than it does from a hit. A bruise will go away, cut will go away. You might have like a little, something on the outside, but it will go away. But those words and those things that tear you down, emotionally and verbally, like, those are things that take 10 times longer to heal. And I know even that in my own case, there's still scars that I deal with till this day, that, like, those things that are back there, those things that still, like, trigger you in those moments that you think you got rid of, but you didn't get rid of them. And so, those verbal abuse and emotional just stay with you longer. And so just be aware, and just in this month, not just in this month, but just, I would encourage you to educate yourself on, what domestic violence really is, what happens, it's to both men and women, and just, be more aware, not only for those around you, but even for yourself. Maybe you'll see the signs. God forbid you ever be in a situation like that. I would never wish that on anybody. I would never wish that on my worst enemy, right? It's nothing that you would never want that upon anybody. Never. Like, I would never want anybody to go what I went through. But that you would be aware of those signs and aware of the things and aware of the community around you for if something like that ever occurred. And so just be mindful. And I just wanted to share just a little bit on that with you this week. And, as we're coming to a close of October already, there's just dear in my heart, and I just wanted to share with you a little bit about it. So if you guys are just tuning in, thank you for tuning in and listening to KUHS The Stream here on Ignite with Melissa. And I'm just, grateful for all of you guys and tuning in and listening and just hearing my heart today. And, make yourself aware. Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's real. It's active. It goes on every day, not even just today. Every day. But yeah, so I just kind of want to share my heart with you guys a little bit today, and just kind of be aware of some of the signs, some of the things that's going on, and that there are resources for help and things that you can do as a friend, family member, co-worker, whatever you might be in this person's life. There are things that you can do to also be aware and also be a helping hand. So yeah. With that being said, I also wanted to share some great news, right? So, as we know, October is literally almost over, guys. I can't believe it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. This year is just, it's going by really fast, but it's going by really slow. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's like, and then, yeah, I don't know. It's like, what is that movie? Groundhog Day, like just waking up and having like the same day over and over again. But, just change your clothes. Maybe, hopefully something different happens. Take a shower. Hope you're taking a shower. If you're not, it's alright. We can't smell you through the screen, so it's okay. But October is almost over. I don't know if any of you are going to be trick-or-treating, letting your kids trick-or-treat, or if you guys are actually going to hand out candy. Let me know. What are you guys going to do? I don't know. There's so many different debates, right, on what should and should not happen. Curious to hear your thoughts and what you think about for Halloween. And, if you're going to dress up, what kind of costume are you going to wear? What are you wearing? I felt like I should go something dramatic. I'm going to be a ghost. That's what I'm going to be for Halloween. It's going to be a ghost. So if you see me here at the studio on my Friday before Halloween, I'm going to be a ghost. I got it all together. It's going to happen. A ghost on Ignite. Not Ghost from Power Ghost. You thought. But a ghost. Like the ones that are like those ones. Those kind of ghosts. But yes. But also, I want to share with you because, as October is coming close to an end. Also next week I have a great guest with me, Michelle. And she's going to be here next week talking about self-care. And a whole bunch of great news for you guys, a lot of information. So, I feel like it ties into Domestic Violence Awareness Month. How can you love yourself? How can you care for yourself? And so it's going to be a great show next week, and I hope you guys tune in because she is wonderful, and she's going to be with us and to share all of her great knowledge and all this great stuff that's happening. And so tune in next Friday. My guest will be here. And so that's going to be an amazing show. But I also want to share with you because November's coming up, and I don't like to share this stuff when I have guests on the show because it's their time to shine. But since this is a Melissa day, I'm here in the studio by myself. I wanted to share with y'all what's going to be happening for November, y'all. And I don't know if you've seen it on the Ignite page, but all month of November is going to be Ignite Thanks. And so I'm super excited for the month of November. There's going to be great things every single day, guys. Like, I have something planned for you every single day. We have, of course, Friday, our live shows here in the studio, and we also have some special things that are going to be happening on the Talk About It Tuesdays. Y'all might see the pictures that I post up for Tuesdays, Talk About It Tuesdays, but we're going to actually be having some guests on Talk About It Tuesdays, and I am just super stoked and excited for what's about to take place. And I'm telling y'all, I know I tell y'all guys all the time, but for real, like, you do not want to miss out on any of these guests, any of the Tuesdays, any of the Fridays, because they are going to be life-changing. It's going to be, you just got to tune in. There's no words to say or speak about it. You just got to tune in, and it's going to be amazing. But on top of that, with amazing guests and things that are happening every single day in November, on Ignite Thanks, that's what it's, hashtag Ignite Thanks. Come on, somebody. And with Ignite with Melissa, but also with Ignite Thanks, we are going to be making some Ignite Thanks boxes to help families in need for Thanksgiving time. And so, there's going to be more information on that coming November 1st. You'll see it posted on November 1st. But here on Ignite with Melissa, we want to help out families that need help this holiday season. Everybody should have amazing Thanksgiving with their family. You shouldn't have to worry about, where things are going to come from, how you're going to get them. And we want to give back. I want to give back to families that need help. And so we're going to be doing Thanksgiving boxes for those in need. And, if you want to take part in this, I'm going to have more information. I have a list already made up of the things that we're going to be able to get them. And, if you can't donate them in person, we'll have where you can send in the payment for Ignite Thanks for those Thanksgiving boxes. And we're just super excited to, give back to our community and help those in need. And also, with that being said, if you know any families in need, or I feel like a lot of the times, right, and there's no problem, no issue, most of the time it goes to families, right? But how we know that sometimes there are couples, just couples without kids. There's single people. Rent's high out there. Come on, somebody. We know that rent is ridiculous out there. You got your bills by yourself. And so even even a Friendsgiving, right? We know the Friendsgiving. Even if there are just single people out there that need help this Thanksgiving, couples out there, married couples, non-married couples, whoever you are, just anybody who might be in need for Thanksgiving. If you know somebody that could use a Thanksgiving box, we want to know who they are. If you would love to send that in to us, give us a message, because we want to give back. And that is something that we're going to be doing in November as part of the Ignite Thanks. We're going to be giving back boxes, Thanksgiving boxes for those in need. So I'm super excited about that. Super excited to get back to our community and, just remind them that you guys are loved. You haven't been forgotten. There are people who care about you and want to pour into you. And if we can just help 1, 2, 3, however many it is, we want to be able to help you guys out this Thanksgiving. And, I ain't going to jump into the next month. We'll wait that till the end of November, but there's going to be a lot of great things in December as well. So I'm not trying to jump ahead. Let's cool it back, bring it back, right? We're still in October, getting ready for November, and so super excited about it. And yeah, so if you guys know anybody, please send that in, so we can start preparing for how many families, how many children are in their family, or whoever it might be, so we can get everything that we need to them and help them out. And yes, so thank you guys for tuning in. And let's see. Yeah, Sophia. Yeah, speak up and talk out. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Like I said, I never wish that on anybody. And I'm just grateful that you are here today and you are up and you are speaking about it. And that's one of the things I say, break the silence, right? Like, don't be silent anymore. Break the silence and talk about it. Talk about our stories. We don't know who it could help and where it can help. Maybe not even someone in that situation, but maybe somebody who knows about the situation, and it can help them as well and help them about it. So yes, keep being strong. Don't take it. Don't tolerate it, girl. You are worth more than you know. And so you just keep doing and being the strong woman that you are. And I applaud you for speaking up and speaking out. And, as survivors, girl, congratulations. You got this. You are amazing. And I just want you to know, like, coming from someone myself, who's been there, like, you got this. You can make it through, and keep going and keep pushing, and don't ever think that you have to lower yourself to that situation ever again, because you don't. And you are worth more than words can even describe. And you got this, girl. And just keep pushing, keep going. And I just can't say it enough. Just keep speaking life over yourself. If you ever find yourself in that, look at those red flags. You know the red flags. We know the red flags of those situations. Remove yourself, and just keep finding that support system and that group to help you along the way. And even with things, this, I just want to throw this in here really quick. I don't know if anybody likes to read still. I love to read. I've shared this on my show before. I probably read like 2 to 3 books a week. I love reading. But for domestic violence particular, and not even just domestic violence survivors or people who are going through it, but anybody who might be going through anything, and trying to find that wholeness, trying to find those things that trigger you, trying to find, there's a book called Wholeness by Teray Roberts, Pastor Teray Roberts. It's a really good book, and it goes through, all the things about, like, even like how I shared earlier, finding those things that later on trigger you that you thought were healed but aren't necessarily healed. And it's an amazing book. And so, Sophia, I would recommend you reading that book. It is such a good book. And for anybody out there who is trying to find healing and find wholeness, such a good book. Pick it up. You can find it anywhere. If you don't have the means to buy it, I'll buy it for you. But it's called Wholeness by Teray Roberts. Such a good book. And I know in my life, when I read that book, probably like 3 years ago maybe, I reread it again, but when I first read it, I think it was like a couple years back, maybe 2 to 3 years ago. And I remember just bringing up old things and those things that I thought were healed inside certain relationships that like weren't necessarily healed, and those trigger points and those things that like make you feel the way you do because you pushed them aside and you put them in the back and you think that's gotten rid of it, but it really hasn't, right? You just kind of coating it, like throwing papers or throwing something over a mess, right? You're like, oh, no one will see this spill. There you go, over a spill. And you throw things over because you have guests and you're just like, oh, they won't see it. They're just gonna see, like, maybe you threw a blanket over it or something, but it's not really gone. Like, it's still there, it's just hidden, right? And so there was a lot of things that book helped me with, those things that were still hidden back there that I just kind of covered up over time, and helped me and get through that, and become a better me, find those points, find those things. And so I would recommend that to anybody, not just in abusive relationships, just in any type of relationships, or just trying to find self-healing in yourself, things that are going on. Wholeness by Teray Roberts. Go look it up. It's everywhere, and you can find it. Really good book. But yes. Oh yes. So if you have names to send to me, you can just private message me. I need to turn on the messaging on the Ignite page. I just haven't done so because, as you guys know, a lot of times on media, people send you some crazy things, and then it just gets thrown into like what we're trying to do now, find the good things. And with all the spam mail, it's kind of hard to filter all that out. So just private message me on my personal page, and or if you know me personally, send me a text message. If you have my email, you can send me an email. Let me give you the email. The email that you can send it to is, it's a long one. It's my old email, but you can send it to this email, extremeImages.melissacasada@gmail.com. And so if you need to send it by email, you could send it to that. And I'll say it again, it's extremeImages.melissacasada@gmail.com. So if you need to send it through email, go ahead and send it through that email. It's an old email, but at least it won't get into my personal email, and I can filter out those ones that don't need to be there. If you know what I mean. But for those of you that know me personally and that watch on the show, go ahead and send those names to me through text message, or find me on my personal page, Melissa Casada, and you can DM me through my personal page. I don't mind that at all. Send me a direct message on my personal page, and my personal page is linked on the Ignite with Melissa page, so if you don't know where it's at, you can find it on there. And sometimes you might have to send it twice, because if you're not friends with me, it goes to like the spam folder, so sometimes I might not get it. But go ahead and send it to me, and I'm sure it will pop up and I will find it. But yes, so many amazing things happening, and thank you for listening to me, and sharing again with my story, and one of these days you're gonna get the full story. You'll hear the full thing, hear a lot of things in the works. So just excited for November, Ignite Thanks November, and just so many things that are happening, and I'm just super excited for you guys to be a part of it. And thank you, Michelle, for tagging that on there. And it's Extreme Images, extremeImages.melissacasada@gmail. So yes, thank you guys so much, and I just love that you guys are part of this community and part of helping make a difference. And I'm just so excited and so grateful for you guys that you're here. We made it a year, guys. The best is yet to come. So much more things to happen in the future here on Ignite with Melissa on KUHS Denver. And I just love each and every single one of you. I'm so grateful for each and every single one of you, for wherever you're at across the world. Like, we like to say global, because we're not only local here in Colorado, but we're global around the world. And so we just thank you for everybody that tunes in, that everybody listens. We're so grateful to you guys. And I know I just am personally grateful for you guys listening to, whether you're on the job, at home, in your car, wherever you might be. I love y'all and appreciate y'all. And before I head out today, I always want to tell you, if no one has told you today, I want to remind you that you are loved, you have purpose, and you belong. So your girl signing out. Tune in next week. Michelle is going to be here on self-love, self-care, You don't want to miss out on it, and it's going to be an amazing show. So tune in next Friday, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Ignite with Melissa, and your girl signing out today on KUHS, the stream. Ignite with Melissa. Love, peace, and God bless y'all.